Welcome to the channel, viewers. There's the office window for the day. There's some of the block work that's been going on in my life. It's always something to do, always something to build if you want to build it. You can't do this sort of stuff without a clear mind. It's too complicated, it's too technical. There's heights, lengths, different increments of positions, and then you've got to have the physical attributes to be able to get it all done. It's not easy. And so too with a relationship. When you're trying to have a life with someone and you're watching them slowly but surely and determinedly hurt themselves and harm themselves with substances and other things that help them manage their life the way that they do. Everyone's different, granted. And so you think that you're the answer. You think that you're the cure. And I think to some degree they do at first as well. Think you're the cure. They give you a cure status. This person's going to be able to help me to improve, etc., or one or the other. And that doesn't last, because the reality will jump out at you, and that's when the complications can start if you haven't got the capabilities of resolve. And resolve can present itself in different ways and with different challenges. And the ways that resolve will come down to the level of life experience and maturity that the person has that you're with. Some people just don't know how to resolve. They don't want to resolve. Then on the other hand, they will resolve if the situation suits them to do that. And that opens up a whole realm of what motivates people to do what they do. Some people will let things collapse, or let things fail, because they just haven't got the value, or have lost the value for whatever the situation they were dealing with had. Resolve, because you're constantly resolving things on building sites, constantly. Resolve is so valuable that if you see someone who has the capabilities of resolve, fixing things, and you know they can do it and they don't, all of a sudden there's something that's important and they're just not going to, that is probably the biggest red flag that you're going to get to help you know what the future of that relationship's going to bring. Because without resolve, the relationship's not going to bring anything. It's not going to bring peace. It's not going to bring serenity. That's when it becomes toxic. That's when the trauma bonds and the trauma and all the rest of it begin. When there is a lack of resolve. The problem with that is when you first meet someone, they're almost prepared to resolve anything. You'll see this, they'll make the effort to resolve. I remember the last lady that I had, she was a nice lady, it was just circumstances that destroyed her. Something happened at the start of the relationship, and she Hang on. And she said on the phone, do you want me to come over? And I said, no, that's not necessary. We can sort this out. I think it was a matter of negligence. It was just a matter of negligence. And, but the point being, she was prepared to get in a car and drive half an hour over to my place to fix whatever the problem was. At the end, the problems have been probably so constant in the way of micro-incremental sillinesses that trying to fix anything had become a monotony. By this time things had manifested so badly, we had people having psychological collapses on her side because they wanted her attention, and it was really, really sad for her because she wasn't a woman that wanted trouble. But some of the habits and lifestyle choices that were in this person's life were sabotaging her. I actually think that it sabotaged the whole life. It was sabotaged by habits. And I know for a fact those habits could have been beaten because I've seen how strong she was. If she had the determination to do something, she'd do it. But there was just things that she liked to do that were harmful, that were conflictive with her health and her mind, and in many ways the people around her. And we can blame our past, and we can blame this and that and all the other, but that's not good enough. Because when you've seen the person reach beyond the limitedness of the things that have abused her, when you see them reach past the limitedness of the substance abuses and things that they have given their life over to, you've seen them get beyond all that, you start to become disappointed because you think, hang on a sec, there are much more difficult things in life that you've overcome. And some of these problems that were being faced were not being overcome because the value wasn't there to overcome them. The necessity was there, but the value wasn't there. The value for what it meant to fix problems relative to whatever the issue was at that time. And you could see there's negligence going on here, there's bias going on relative to family members and their control and manipulation, running the relationship from behind. There was so much sabotage, self-sabotage and triangulation sabotage going on, and I'm just spectating. I'm thinking, I've never seen people go down the tubes as badly as what I'm watching here. I mean, well, I have. The woman I married, that was just ridiculous. What was going on with those people was just ridiculous. They were from another planet as well. They were so destructive. Once they come out of their covert narcissism into their overt, it was so destructive. And again, with these people, they were more on the passive aggressive spectrum. It was all passive. It was all going on in the silence. And if you haven't got this discernment to be able to see this and understand this, you're going to get shipwrecked. You will be destroyed. I've had to say to both of these people, you just haven't got the strength, you just haven't got the life experience to ruin me, because that's what their behaviour was reflecting. It was just reflecting ruin, because they were ruining themselves. But not only were they ruining themselves, they were happy to take whoever was willing to go with them, and I wasn't willing to go any further. When you got women with sons that can't even wipe their own asses properly, and they're, you know, up into, well into their 20s, and they're still like little infants in their attitudes and aptitudes, and they're, you know, into the drink and the drugs and all the rest of it, and you've got these people thinking that they're gonna, you know, impact my life. I'm sorry, I stayed faithful to the woman I was with, but to a point, once their interferers got too into where we were, into the privacy of the relationship, I called it. No, I'm not. No, get your shit and get out. You have to be that way, or you're not going to succeed. You're just going to be destroyed with that person. They are heading to destruction. I saw death on the last lady. She was just determined to ruin her health. And that had nothing to do with me. Had nothing to do with how she was being treated by me. I was limited. Couldn't visit her. People, you know, with their attitudes and immaturities and recklessness, and all that adds up on you, because it disallows you to be the man for that person that you're supposed to be. They don't want you to be the man that you're supposed to be. You're just a convenience. Don't be that. If you can't build fairly and squarely a relationship with the person that you're with, and they're not allowing you to, or they're sabotaging it, or in some way minimizing it, get out. Let that person find someone that they're happy with and an environment that they like. Life's too short. It's just way too short. And until you realise that, you'll waste it. But when you realise life's too short to put up with the failures of people that have lost their value, when you realise that, you move on fast. You leave them in their choices, because they're only living for their desires. They're not living with a purpose, and that always ends badly. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, out.